Are you able to see my screen?
It's good.
Okay, what do you see?
I think it's still, you are not presenting as a slide yet, just a document.
Okay. Is it all good now?
That's good.
Perfect. All right. Good evening, everyone, and hope everybody is feeling relaxed and happy to start the weekend. And I believe this would be the right time to know something that you really wanted to know and have some conversation regarding that. So I really welcome everybody on behalf of ICAI to this grant writing workshop. ICAI acknowledges that we live, work, and make art on the Treaty 6, 7, and 8 territories of the many Indigenous and Métis Nation in Alberta, as well as the all other Indigenous community members who live within these territories. We respect the land we live on, and we also acknowledge there is unresolved history in the treaties ICAI works in. We publicly commit to advancing reconciliation and make intentional efforts towards ending systemic racism through our work in the community as we continue to celebrate and protect the diverse cultures, languages, traditions, and history that existed here before Canada. Just a brief info about us for those who do not know about ICAI. The Immigrant Council for Arts Innovation, or ICAI, is an arts council based in Alberta. The council was founded in January 2019 with the express purpose of connecting immigrant and newcomer artists, arts administrators, and culture workers to the existing arts community in Alberta. ICAI actively encourages diversity of expression and culture through the creation of a safe and welcoming community where immigrant and newcomer art workers feel confident to share their work and distinct cultural identities. Our vision is to transform the arts community through opportunities designed for immigrant arts and culture workers. Our mission is to connect, empower, and advocate for immigrant and newcomer arts and culture workers. And our values are that we work for equity, diversity, and inclusion. What drives us is creativity, passion, kindness, and inspiration. And through relationship, we build the community. So, what we do is we provide specialized information and resources for newcomer and immigrant arts and culture workers. We create free, inclusive, and tailored programs and networking opportunities. We provide support and mentorship for artistic growth and professional development. We advocate for immigrant arts and culture workers to have safe spaces and opportunities by educating the arts community on how to make their spaces inclusive for newcomer arts workers. We have many programs, mentorship programs, which includes longer duration program NAP, a newcomer arts professional program. We also have our anytime accessible mentors in residence or MIR program. We also have this Artist of the Month. It's more like an award or recognition given to an artist who has worked with us already, and it is in some capacity. It is so that we can celebrate them and they get our community's attention. We then have partnered exhibitions and performances. There are also workshops or information sessions like this where you can learn things. Then we have networking events, which are intended for building connections, meeting stakeholders, and increasing your network. Now, it's very easy to connect with ICAI. All our paid program opportunities are for our members, and a membership is absolutely free. To know when is our next member orientation, please follow us on our social media or check our website. We will be providing more details then. There are also focus group sessions that are happening happening within ICAI, please check our ICAI website for more updates. And to become a member, you can go to www.icai.online.org and fill out a membership form if you're not already one. For any other questions, you can contact me on my email, which is programs@icaionline.org. Okay, meet the star of the day, Aeris Osborne. We're really happy to have you, Aeris. Let me introduce Aeris by reading her bio. Aeris Osborne is a Hong Kong-born, Edmonton-based painter known for her bold Impressionist heritage and landscape paintings. She was the 2022 Alberta Artist in Residence or Art Ambassador, making history as the first immigrant and self-taught artist to receive this prestigious appointment. Her Alberta Art Ambassador project involved Alberta's old buildings traveling over 3,000 kilometers, exhibiting across multiple cities, and incorporating augmented reality into her works using the Artivib app. She's passionate about historical preservation and has engaged with distinguished figures, including the Lieutenant Governor of Alberta and the Minister of Arts, Culture, and the Status of Women. In 2023, her In Plein Air Colorful Travel Journey series was transformed into Alley of the Light art boxes in downtown Edmonton. She has also been recognized through various grants and competitions, including the Canada Council for the Arts Grant and multiple Allied Art Council awards. Aeris actively contributes to the arts community, serving on expert panels, juries, and advisory committees while sharing her knowledge through workshops, seminars, and artist talks. Her artworks are collected across North America and Asia. And I'm really proud to tell that Aeris is one of our mentors in residence in the current cohort of mentors in residence program. You can check our website and go to our mentors in residence. I can leave the link in the chat later to have a one-on-one with Aeris. Again, depending on her availability, you can actually reach out through our mentors in residence program as well. Just some housekeeping before I pass the baton to Aeris. Please stay on mute unless you're talking or asking questions. Please feel free to go video off if that's how you're comfortable. To ask questions, either use raise hand option or leave questions and comments on the chat. Aeris will address all the questions at the end of the session. I'll keep an eye on the chat to note any questions and pass it on to Aeris when we open the Q&A, which will be towards the end of the session. Over to you, Aeris. Let me stop my screen sharing.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you. ICAI invited me and also Samantha introduce myself. So nice to meet you all in this evening. Okay, so yeah, so it's really beautiful introduce me and then almost have, including myself, have 18 people here. So grand whitening workshop is pretty good. Really generated all my experience. So that you can see the photo, that's myself, I think 2 years ago in the Southern Alberta Beaver Mine area to do a live painting. I've not repeated those information that Samantha already introduced myself. Probably the most special my experience is I was completely self-taught artist. I also is immigrant, and I basically I completely start everything by myself. I different than you guys, I'm not even go to any workshop. I just love to explore everything by myself. So yeah, the most highlight in my life definitely, I invited Lieutenant Governor of Alberta come to my exhibition, and Minister Tanner come to choice of my do the opening speech for my exhibition as well. So the changing is from I'm an artist to go through the artist in residence under the government of Alberta. This is the only one artist at the time that is including dancer, film, and video indigenous art, literary art, music, theaters. There's only one appointed. I was at that time. So that means I have quite a big resource. So basically, our branch is different than AFA. It's a government sector that's supporting the Arts Ambassador program. Now they are opening with accept applicant until June. I think mid of June, you can check out this information. So now let's really talk about today. I have 4 key elements I wanted to talk with you guys. So at the end, when I finish the slide, then you can have a question and answer time. But in this moment, I really just wanted to share more my experience. So first of all, I want to talk a little bit about why applying arts grant. Nature is what the expectation versus the reality. And then third is the grant whitening tips. That's a major part. But as an artist, I also become a juror too. So I juror the AFA. I was selected, the expert panel, the provincial one, and also a municipal in the Edmonton one. So that's why I would quite been work with different people before, also local organization and county nearby Edmonton. But one thing I can tell you the truth is, knowing me or knowing anyone is an assessor will not benefit you, because we have this self-disclosure to let everyone know that if we know that person, we have to out of that assessment progress, because it's be fair. But today it's good to sharing all those information. So number one, applying arts grant. This is actually, I think it's very important, is why you even apply the arts grant. Because arts grant, I believe you all from different kind of art sector, not equal just visual artists. Applying grant is an enormous work. You need to prepare a lot of things and then to go to this program. So when you ask why, but you also have to find the right one. So I got, by my life so far, I got 2 arts grants. One from the Canada Council for the Arts, them in the federal grant. One is the one that artist in resident, that is the Arts Ambassador, is the grant as well. It's a provincial grant. Those grants, you have to find the correct one to apply. If not, sometimes you just can say, oh, you learn by your experience. So I think it's some time, think about it, and then why you apply it, because that will go to the next part. I will say, what is the expectation versus the real reality? We have so much hope, we have so much hope to thinking you apply this beautiful, massive grant. You're thinking it's supposed to got it, but same as some of you, I also applied, but got failed. So my life really major transit time is, my background actually is social work. I'm in Hong Kong as a social worker. I moved in Canada, Edmonton, 2007. So I being really fully can be full-time artist is actually so surprisingly is during before 2020 during the COVID time. I got the experience and opportunity to put my vision to one of the artists in residence. So artist in residence basically changing my entire life. It's because my artist in residence is giving me my exposure, connecting with the organization. Since ICAI is an organization, but sometimes artists in residence make you more exposure. Later on, if I have time, I can talk about my background back, but let me focus on today the major content. So the expectation and the reality, you apply, you're thinking you must get it, but like myself or like some of you, you are the self-taught. But actually, when I be a juror, I can tell you, lots of college education, maybe same as some of you. That means they're not diploma, they're not degree, they are master of fine art. When a juror, especially the AFA, enormous amount of people is master of fine art, not only in Canada, some might be in US, some even out of country. So that is the reality. So second, emergence. I definitely emergent artist earlier. Now I cannot compensate emergent because I will not even people will accept me because you can search my name, you will search information. So emergent is great, but also versus so many people actually they got award. So that just mean when you later on you build your portfolio, build your resume, those are when you apply the grant, you are reality, you are facing those people. They are your component. They are your opponents, but not necessary because they will accept certain amount of people, but that's the reality. And then third is you as an individual apply the grant, but sometimes you also know that you might be represent a group, you might be represent a collective. People, I will honestly tell you, I actually didn't pay attention to that. When I became a juror, I found out, oh, these people will just apply one grant, but actually they also sometimes represent a group, might be a theater production or might be some performance. Even the visual artists, they have a group of common interest. So when you apply your personal as a person, but you also versus amount of people. But they also is the grant just basically what mean grant is that organization got them and that amount of funding and that year. So they will not, what I think they are not biracial. So that means they try to treat it fair. So those are what you might be other competitor. So the fourth is yourself, but also versus a group of people. Again, what's mean a group of talented people? I would say Alberta before maybe it's less people living, but in this few years, COVID, everything, right? The Eastern Toronto, some people from Toronto right now watching it, right? Vancouver, Alberta definitely relatively is more affordable. So affordable mean what? A lot of talented people also move in. So the biscuits only can for that certain amount of people. But then now with more people competitive, that's this mean, that's the reality. So what I wanted to express in here is don't got frustration, but that is the truth. When you apply, you have other than extremely brilliant, is the successful ratio sometimes may not very high. But the last part I want to say is you meet the requirement to entrance, get the entrance ticket to get in. Sometimes that's why you can say that I meet all the requirements. I did what they do. Why I cannot go further? But that is the fact is because everyone, same as like using AFA, they were helping students even got the grant for the education as well. They accept that. But also that same grant is accept everyone that meet the requirement. So because of that, you meet the requirement, you wrote everything sound like great, but those that I just highlight the four major part, that is how you're facing why you sometimes feel so struggle and difficult because that's the reality. I want to share the reality, but on the other hand, right? Like when I apply, like the Canada Council for the Art, I was at that time I was in the Art Habitat in Edmonton, one of the organizations provide artists in residence. When I applied the grant, I didn't think that complicated, but I do have a solid thing, and then I got it. So this is just good for you is some knowledge and information to aware about the truth. As I said, I probably after finish, I will go back a little bit my background. Sometimes might be more helpful. So let's deep down the grand tips. Let me move my thing. Okay. So here you will see a lot of points I was sharing. If I put a plus, mean those I really like it the most. So first of all, you have to understand, next slide I will talk about. Basically, a group of jurors will reading all the materials. So I'm talking about 100 to 160. Enormous. And mostly the organization might not providing us that much. I mean, it depends on the size and the scale, but it's enormous amount. And the juror had to be a certain time, usually not that long. So when you apply the grant, they have a time kind of, right, when to know the result, because those are feeling, and then the administrative, they were screening, do they really meet the requirement, and then screen out those didn't meet the requirement, and then give the juror. So I can tell you truly, it's such a short time, how can really screening all the applicants and gave the score. So this is the tips. Unique ideas. Basically brilliant ideas. Those are the parts. That's what I'm talking. The tips is really draw the juror the most attention, because you if you're attended here, you mostly have the interest, right? So the unique ideas mean you can know some people got it, and how can you similar idea you stand out the other. Then you have to be very clear, have a goals and benefits. They usually ask you that what kind of goals about that, and what is beneficial for yourself, for the community. But what I highlight is the ideas. Idea is all the project ideas always is it, you need to stand out. Basically, the whole thing is stand out. Pretty critical, personal story. When Samantha talked about that, during old houses building, and then even the provincial is across the province, that is related to my personal experience. As I'm not the education background. I really just experienced everything what I've been an immigrant, and then transitioning me, and how I come from Hong Kong as a high-rise student, and then go to the really individual house mostly in here, and how I love the heritage rather than modern house. So I had to unfold the story a little bit, connecting my project. So like if you guys, when you're applying anything, talk a little bit or talk more connecting, will definitely not. That is not like a too blank to reading a paper. It's reading your personal story with your unique idea. Next part is important. I have read one of it, 8 pages. But you can tell the 8 pages will not help. This is the most ideal. So sometimes the panels, the administrative staff will ask the panel juror member to give the feedback, how they be do better. So we'll give some more guideline for them the next time. So we both quite agree at one time in the journal panel is that 2 to 3 pages is good. One definitely short. If it have image, will be beneficial, but I have to use very smartly, because the page is limited. How you add image over image also not good, because you will have another part to submit image as well. So that is mean 2 to 3 pages is the project goal, what kind of beneficial. But sometimes the application is not actual pages. Sometimes it's like they are just have different portal for you to fill up the information. That is fine. But what I mean is basically don't excessive. That's the key part. And second thing is professional term. I mean, it's cool to use some term. Sometimes maybe I have to go to more understanding, because the spectrum is too many, right? I will not know everything. So my background, like from AFA, they are specific for certain type of expert panel. I'm not dancer. I'm not literary. I'm visual art. So if they invite me and accept me, I will help in visual art. But when my municipal in Edmonton, city of Edmonton, just like city of Calgary, they might be different. They do stream 1, stream 2, stream 3, but they are mixing all all across different artists. That means it's wide range artists. So that means that panel, I will meet with people who is film production. One is dancer, and some is musician. So it's totally different. So that means I will draw some grant is not on my professional side, but I also learning too. So that's why I say when your presentation in that paper, you have to expect someone might not in your field. And also is most of the juror quite anti-AI writing because can tell very clearly because it's not that smooth. Maybe technology in future will change, but definitely AI writing project, I can tell you will not benefit. You probably might even damage your name. And so go back one more part. I've been one of the fellow is quite successful in his field, but he's using a word emergent. I feel was a little bit odd when showing me that he even go to magazine publishing in Milan, Italy, and New York, but you tell yourself it's just a new artist in that field, even though might change but from before, but sometimes don't care for how you're using the word. They make the juror really believe in you is true. So okay, go back to social impact. That means is your grant writing, those are key components. You do something just very personal, you definitely can write anything you want, but you want to get the grant is different level. You can write anything you want. I read one grant is totally a complaint letter for that organization. So people would sometimes do odd things, but at the end, you really want to get the grants, then you have to think more how to have more element to stand out. The next part also thinking is history and future. That means is your project grant have more talk about the history. Doesn't mean just about the history for your ancestor, history where you came from, and also how to even impact the future. Yeah, last year I got one grant. That person, I only ever will give one person almost full score, just only one score out of full score. Usually really careful, don't want to like overly giving score, try to be more mid-level range. No, but that person brilliant. It is so easy. Something very brilliant proposal, you cannot reject it because that person did everything. What I say, the history, future, society, impact, all hit the point and very, very strong evidence. Next part, I talk about the research. As the other one, I talk about my Alberta O building series. That's what the grant that come from the provincial. So I got a enormous opportunity, and I do honestly say I really fully utilize the resource because I wanted to go those places, but also wanted to know. Okay, I Alberta buildings. I cut it Alberta to 3 regions. So when I go to Calgary, I painting one of the downtown, one of the old mansion. It's called Logie House. But at that time, I'm not just only do research in that place. I also want to have a chance opportunity to know more things, have a chance to meet more other organizations. That sometimes can help to maybe know more the city. So if anything you can imply of it is beneficial. Data information. Some people really brilliant. I think especially, definitely sometimes people who more the education in the background of fine art, they definitely have more history, data information to convincing you. That part sometimes is people will use some extra resources when you can apply the grant, extra resources. One person, that's not a person, one is a team, they completely using a drawing kind of to share breaking down, but that is not in the original project proposal. It's a spare. Sometimes they say, oh, you can upload extra information. That person using the flow, like drawing, writing, and really the wording and the drawing is really intimacy. You can see the project idea, where they come from. Yet those will got very high score. This, you can see I have double pass artwork quality. Artwork quality is very important, especially when you see so many applicants. And then what's happening is, at the end, this is the high ratio when you do all the scoring. That means how to let people know your artwork quality. Later we'll talk about it. But that means you still have to sharpening your pencil. Your own skill is the major part. But then you need a high quality image. And do your best. If they sometimes will give you a testing box, you say describe the information of the image. Don't need to type too long, but roll on it. Because different organizations, they might not allow you to go to see the social media. Because they will say, this is not the requirement. You're supposed to provide and look what they provide. I mean, applicant, what they provided. So everything you submit there is supposed to be based on that. And what I learned is part. Sometimes I think I'm not the strongest. After I saw people, wow, really excellent. Is how they really do the presentation of the image. Because you already have the page of whatever you submit for your project idea, everything. The image, I was sad myself. I still using traditional PC computers. Some people might using Mac, but you know the ratios on it's more like horizontal. I found out that's not my good when I see people they using completely. Even it's a square, even was the original photo is vertical, but they present on the horizontal way. That means when the jury click it, the full screen will see the image. The image is what that mean of the image. If you are production of the theater, you will show the theater, and then maybe have a description a little bit. And the image is don't need to have the artist image, but have to be professional lighting. Everything will increase your point. What I'm talking about is you are trying to gain the point, get the score to impress the juror. Reference letters. Yes, the one I said that how one person just one score out of almost full score. That one I did is 50 is a full score. That person got 49 in all aspects. Extremely strong reference letter. Reference letter for new artists is hard. Like for myself, how can be a self-taught artist, emergent artist, can apply the Government Alberta grant? The only one artist can got it. It's because, as I said, my first artist in resident, I did called Edmonton Old House Project. That time, as I said, it's run by organization. It's called Art Habitat. I got a studio, but at that time when I'm doing the artwork, I already attracted CBC Edmonton News to come to do my personal interview, a video interview during COVID time. So what I mean is those are built up because I don't have reference letter at that time. But media interviews, especially like myself, I have web page, I can write blog, I can have the resource or news is you can capture the news on the internet. That's a beneficial. You basically, if you are not much on your plate, very new immigrant, don't have too much, try to, wherever you got something stand out, try to make some noise. It's helping you. So here is tips, and I try to at least have, let me see. I will try to at least more than 15 minutes. Hopefully at 15 minutes that you have question and answer time, ask this kind of question, because for me, everything is a package, but everything you get score is based on those stuff. Okay, last part, the assessment process. This is the key part. When you're just an applicant, really innocent, just apply the grant, want to get some money. Sometimes some more experienced applicant, they not just only apply one grant, they apply multiple grant and then try to do that. I forget to mention one thing. So sorry. This part I definitely forget one thing, but I wanted to add on here, the budget. So budget I'm talking here. Budget had to throw it really clearly. If you got apply other grant, you need to mention that as well. And of course, the best is you have to mention if you're thinking you will get that grant, but you also could not get that grant, how you still covering your project plan. And also the budget is like visual art, theater, they all have some guideline for the fee. We actually quite concerned, do you pay artist fee? Do you got artist fee? If that art gallery, public art gallery, 100% will give you that fee, but you didn't roll on it. Some juror might not care, but some juror really care. It had to be, if you got the exhibition, they have a letter to telling you where you go to exhibition. They tell you the amount, or at that time you don't know the amount, you ask them, capture those email and put on it, especially visual art. I can tell you, really, reality is really have just a project idea. You just apply the art grant for the idea. If your idea wanted to something is thinking your production, chance is very low because a lot of them already, other applicants already have formed gallery. They will be hold that time of exhibition. So the budget is you have to mention those things and then making sure it's fair. Sometimes you might be invite some guest speaker or do some research. Do you pay them fee as well? You need to, on that budget part, have to state that budget also is one of the major column. So assessment process. So you see the screen, 30, 10, 40, 20, those are random number. That is all organization will using similar thing. They will never just judge by one factor, not just how good you sell the book or no, they from different parts of the thing to considering. So that the juror also will have different kind of part to look on it. So as I said, Canada is a country really embrace multicultural. So a lot of time it's very diversified. They try to be diversified as possible. So I think the smaller group can be just 3 people, seldom just 2, then 10 more. Okay. So this is the part is you have to understand is they will using, most of them is using scoring scale. That means by based on different merit and then scoring your project, your proposal. And how they scoring? The same as Samantha earlier kind of talked about ICAI, the mission and vision. Different organizations, they have different mission and visions. Sometimes the juror, they give them the scoring sheets, they will show that. Usually very different area. usually also 1 to 10 scale, then have different part. This is the true part after I be a juror, who understanding how I really grateful I can got $1 grand, $2 grand. It's very difficult after I experienced that. As I mentioned that extraordinary, very outstanding. Because juror, they screened it before to let those people be a juror. So they definitely, the organization very trust on them. When those people will give certain and very high score, those are very solid green. Then what is the part is, the hardest part is those not all the panel agree. So when you all agree, those proposal will move on. High chance to got the grant, very high chance to got the grant. The toppest tier probably. But then those gray area might be, assuming 10 panel members have 6 agree, 4 disagree, then debate. That's the part you never thought your grant will go through that program, but that is a true progress. And different jurors from different background and history and education level. Myself is more really open up to want to help more new immigrant people, more related to me, know how difficult can really stand up against to other artists. But some is really concerned is more like theory, more academic background. Some panel member can be professor from the university. So that is why the panel discussion is the major part. But at the end, it is about the funding. Each year, or the organization, how much of funding they got. Then what's been ranking is, assuming a organization have 100 applicants qualified, and then have 20 got the all green light, have 20 of the applicant or 100, have 30 is totally bad from juror eyes. So that means how many left? I think 20, 30, so 50 in the center, 50. Then the panel will discussion about that. And then they will move the ranking up and down. What mean ranking is, number one is 100% will got the grant. So 1 to 100 will reorder what the panel members agree, how they go up and down based on the scoring. But grant assessor at the end didn't know who really can go through. Because that's based on how much funding at least at the end they got it. Could be we all turn out will fully agree 40 people out of 100, but then could be the grant at the end can cover 30. So that means even though how brilliant those from 30 to 40, they still fail out, they still fail it. But what I mean the fail is not really fail, it's really had to learn from the experience. Especially, I want to mention that, the last part I want to mention that is the County Council, the app for my old house building, that project. At first, the COVID, I applied the Edmonton one. That means same as you, the Calgary, that one, the municipal, but I didn't got it. But I still use the base of that information to why it's more bigger, more clear go to the County Council for the art and then success. But I have one thing to really truly tell you that sometimes you might want to ask for the feedback for the grant why they unsuccessful. That is good. But then you think next time I do what the juror said, is it mean I success? Not necessary. Because they change, they will not, almost 99 to 100% guaranteed, they will not let the same group of people to come back. they will have a very restricted idea, maybe have at least maybe a couple times shuffle. So that is why at the end you say you follow that, does it mean we'll do it? No, because different people have different thought at different time. Okay, I think it's unfinished in here. Let me go back. Just click by the fun page. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. So this is almost the end because I want to give some moment that I can let you guys to answer a question, some more information that will able to help you.
Thank you so much, Aeris. Dear attendees, like if you have any questions, you can either post it on the chat or you can use the raise hand function to ask questions directly to Aeris.
Do you have any question that would like to type it?
There's a question. Hi, thanks so much for your presentation. Would you please be able to share the slide once more that had the plus besides the points to consider when grant writing? I was hoping to see it once more.
Yeah, I can do that.
There was another question, can we get the recording? Of course, like you can go into, give it a day and then you can go into ICAI's YouTube channel and then you'll find the recording there.
Oops, sorry. Push back. Yeah. So again, because everyone put the heart to write this kind of, write a project, right? I really just had to emphasize how important is makes your project to emerge in your personal story. That probably is very, very critical for about that. Because you need to, again, you have 100 or maybe 160 or even bigger amount. How can be in this short time to let the juror touch your message? Yeah, that is how I would kind of recommend.
That's awesome, Iris. I have a question. I have heard many of our artists asking the same question, so I just wanted to reciprocate and see like what your thoughts are on that. I've heard many of the grant applicants complaining or thinking about how to do the budgeting part of it, what to include, not include, how do I pay myself, am I allowed to do that, and all those kind of questions. Can you touch base on that?
Yeah,
Or
definitely. Yeah, I can share more a little bit. I didn't mention in the slide, but I verbally talk about the artist fee. Definitely, as a visual artist, so we have CAFET that you heard about. That CAFET have very clear what kind of how many, right? If you do installation, art delivery, and then it's certain hours, and then when your exhibition time, and also like the mileage too, the transfer during those. So like mileage, I would say I using the federal one, Canada.ca. They will have some. You Google search it, you will find it. And then on the other hand is go to. I believe. Yeah, when you search online, you definitely know that which field you will have some guideline. You try to use your best on those guidelines, and then after that, material cost. As this is also for me is already kind of more have to be reasonable. Sometimes people will do the best that I like it. That's a lot of work. Like they maybe search from Amazon, Walmart, whatever. They will capture the screen and then put the price cost. That will very confident to give the juror to know that you really did the research. Airline ticket is one of the thing. Sometimes people you will see that they just want to traveling for leisure, then really do the project. Some people just apply, hopefully they can have a travel, but no, you cannot call the price very unreasonable because you know the time slot. You know you're saying like this a day using Google Flight. I mean Google Flight is actual page. You can even predict when the time you travel and then the pricing. And of course, if you book a hotel as well, then why? Then you of course you will search. Some people will search like the medium range. So then when you do the budgeting, basically you have evidence. What I mean is evidence. Then because like me, the juror will search it too to see is it reasonable. You go in there and if sometime when you apply the ad grant, but you also got certain grant to cover certain costs, so cannot lie, just as honest as possible, and then balance the paying the cost. If you don't know, it's good. Also, can be ask your other artist friend or search online. You have to know that not all the jurors were professional in certain field. They really based on the evidence you provide, then try to balance out. And if you don't pay yourself, also will weird too. They thinking, wow, why you don't pay yourself? Because I remember that one time have one juror very concerned. Wow, this person don't pay yourself and pay is very low and reasonable. So just thinking how you can get the quality of the artwork will be done. It is the same thing. Yeah, I think you asked a very good question about the budget. That's definitely good.
You. Are there any other questions in the chat? Is there anybody who want to ask any other questions?
Let's
Okay.
see.
If there are no other questions, we will be winding up the session. Okay. Thank you so much for attending this workshop. And Aeris, we really appreciate you taking time and effort to facilitate the session. And I
Yeah, I can be the last. We still have 2 minutes. Just silent but share this thought. I just want to encourage everybody that I can say I come from a nobody, just a visitor to Canada. I'm in 2005, first time visiting Canada, and then live in Canada, and then become permanent resident. And you will not ever thought how many opportunity this country provide. I feel this country is very beautiful. The province is very beautiful because also you have different landscape as well. So yeah, I would suggest that just trust yourself. That's all I say to everybody. Yeah, trust your talent because you never know. You don't know how far you can go. But if you don't, I sound like very scary, have the expectation and reality, but you don't step your first step, you cannot go further at all because that but the reality just means that don't I only show the reality is you don't give up. Because that reality why you found out you apply not success but you have to nail it further and further by experience. Thank you for that.
I'm just posting here Aeris's contact. If anybody wants to reach out, you can reach Aeris on these platforms. Alternatively, you can also book meeting with Aeris through our Mentors in Residence program. I'm going to post that link as well. Just give me one more moment. Okay, here you go. The Mentors in Residence program with ICAI. You can check who are other mentors in residence, and you can use this form to just fill out your needs and request an appointment with any of the mentors in residence there. Well, thank you so much, guys. Have a good weekend. and good night.
Okay, thank you everybody to come. Have a good night as well. Bye bye.
Bye.